Hello, real estate agents. This is the first time that I've done one of these recorded trainings. I've done really just kind of small tutorial videos, but the first time that I've tried to convert what we do in person into a basically a recorded video or a webinar without live participation. Let me know what you think about them. Of course, we want to continue to do in-person training as much as possible. But if you find that there's value in having something that you can go back and watch or review, we can start incorporating more things like this into the mentee program, especially as new agents come on board. So today we're going to talk about lead generation and, more importantly, what to do with those leads once you get them. So if you've made the effort to snag a few leads, how can you make sure that they stay with you? So the question that I get asked the most from my new agents and even experienced agents is, so how do you generate so many leads? How do you get so many leads? How do you make so many contacts? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I could go about it one of two ways. I could either teach them my method and be very narrow in the scope of lead generation, or I can kind of demystify the idea of lead generation, because there are literally dozens upon dozens of ways that you can lead generate. I went through, kind of did a little brainstorming session. I came up with 30 in about 15 minutes. And I know I'm just hitting the tip of the iceberg. So really, your leads can be limitless. Every person you encounter is a chance for a lead. So people you run into on your day to day, your sphere of influence, you're at a family function, you're at a networking event, the parent of the kid that your kid plays with. Every person you encounter is a chance for a lead. They might not be in the market directly to buy in the immediate future or sell in the immediate future, but they could become a connector. So they may not be the source of your business, but the source of the source. Maybe they have a family member, a friend, a business associate, a work colleague, whatever the case may be. They may have someone who could use your services. So don't look for the that immediate payoff of, I'm going to talk to that person and that person is going to be my client, because you never know where that next client is going to come from. Don't be a secret agent. There are lots of real estate agents whose Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, I kind of stalk when they post in a realtor group, or even sign on with EXP or anything like that. And pardon the dogs in the back. And the thing that I notice on a lot of folks, especially the folks who are mentioning, I've been in the business X amount of months, and I don't feel like that anybody is reaching out to me, or I don't feel like I'm getting any sort of business. And nowhere on their social media profile, and again, guys, this is 2020, social media is king, but nowhere on any of their social media profiles does it mention that they're a real estate agent. They have never posted a video of themselves doing an open house. They have never posted a picture of a property. They have never given any indication that they are in the business of real estate. So don't be a secret agent. Shout it from the mountaintops. The more people that know, the more opportunity you have to tap into those folks. And then the biggest thing is that successful agents do the work. And here's what I mean by that. Um, when you're starting off as a new agent, and trust me, this is terribly common, you can very easily fall into the trap of, I've got to wait until everything is perfect. Well, my business cards aren't here. Well, I don't have open house signs. Well, I don't have magnets for the side of my car. Well, I don't have a badge yet. Well, I don't know how to do the perfect open house. Well, I don't know how to do this weird esoteric side of real estate. I don't know exactly what to say to folks. And honestly, there is never going to be a perfect time that is more perfect than right now to start doing practical work, to putting yourself out there, again, letting folks know, hey, I'm in real estate. If you have real estate needs, or anyone you know has real estate needs, would you mind keeping me in mind? There's no special skill that goes into you saying, hi, this is my name, I'm in real estate, I would love to help. So you don't need business cards for that, you don't need headshots for that, you don't need any of that. You just need to have that willingness to jump in. both feet forward, as scary as it might be. I totally understand the desire to, like, I want to take all these extra classes, I want to attend all these lunch and learns, I want to do this, that, and the other thing, and you will educate yourself out of the momentum you need to build this career. You'll find yourself 3 months, 6 months, 8 months down the road, not actually having done anything because you're waiting to absorb every bit of information. You will never absorb everything. I'm constantly learning. Our broker is constantly learning. Everyone is constantly learning. So if you ask yourself, am I waiting for the perfect time? The answer should be the perfect time is right now. Take advantage of the time that you have, take advantage of the excitement that you have and the momentum you have coming out of real estate school to just get yourself out there. So you get yourself out there, and what do we do? Again, everyone asks me, how do you lead generate? How do you lead generate? And when most folks ask me that, their scope is very narrow because they're thinking social media marketing. And yes, that is a tiny little speck on how you can lead generate. But like I mentioned, I went through and did just a quick little brainstorm list of all the different things that you can take advantage of, all the different ways that you can put yourself out there to generate leads. So the easiest one to start with for many folks is sphere of influence. So that's your family, that's your friends. I routinely mention that I don't have a big sphere of influence. I've lived all over. I'm not really connected to anybody that I went to high school or college with. I was gone from San Antonio for over a decade. I have no siblings. The job that I had before this, folks were all remote. I was the only one in San Antonio, and I think probably the only one in Texas. So that sphere, I don't go to church. I don't have kids, so we don't have what people normally tap into for a sphere of influence. Um, and I'm still able to make it. So again, if you don't have that sphere, think think deeper. You know at least one person in town who isn't a real estate agent. Start from there and continue to circle out and out and out. So your family, your friends, if you have kids, if you're a member of the parent teacher association, neighborhood associations. I live here by Woodlawn Lake, so I'm a member of the Jefferson Neighborhood Association. So I go to meetings, I make myself known, I'm a member of the community. Um, Previous clients. So if you're a new agent, you may not have any clients, but if you've closed a deal, that's someone that you should be asking for referrals on a pretty regular basis. Your hobbies. My husband and I play a lot of board games. So we go to like Night Watch or Dragon's Lair and play board games with folks. That's a hobby we tap into. If you're into sports, maybe you're in an intramural softball league, or you play in a band, or you have like a amazing car and you go to car shows. Whatever your hobbies are, whatever you do when you're not a real estate agent, tap into that. Business contacts. So other business owners that you are familiar with. For me, it's a couple businesses here in my neighborhood, independently owned businesses. I have a friend who owns a bakery and kind of Rice Krispie treat store called Serial Killer Sweets over off of Patricia. So I tap into her to be able to refer out, have her refer out business. Hey, if you know anybody who is looking to buy or sell, please keep me in mind. I would love to help anybody you know. I have a friend who owns an estate sale company. You bet I am tapping into that. So other business owners that you have a friendly relationship with, even if it's just a friendly business relationship with. Um, Former or current non-real estate coworkers. So I'm going to assume that most of y'all who now have your license did something before you were in real estate. So tap into those folks. Other leads. So let's fast forward a month down the road, and let's say you've got 90 leads in your pipeline, or 100 leads, or 500 leads, or whatever it is that you have. 10 leads, doesn't matter. Reach out to your leads and go, hey, you know what? I know that you're holding off until the end of the year, or holding off until the kids are back in school, or you're holding off until whenever to look into buying a house or getting your house on the market. But hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? If you are a member of your high school or college alumni association, again, just these are all things that are kind of tapping into direct contact, not only to bring them on as clients, but again, to find those connectors to connect you to other leads. The second page are the things where you're going to get your name out there. So door knocking. Knocking on your neighbor's doors, knocking on doors in a neighborhood. Hi, I'm a real estate agent. Mailed letters, doing a geofarming campaign, and if anybody's interested in me doing a class on that, let me know. Postcards with your information. Hey, contact me for your free home valuation. Contact me to find out how to get out from your rental. Whatever you want to do for a marketing campaign, hey, that's up to you. But reaching out with direct mail is a great way to do it. Marketing materials in businesses. I've walked into several restaurants or coffee shops or whatever it may be and see everybody's yoga studio and hair salon and you name it with postcards or business cards on a cork board or on a shelf. So why not mine? And why not yours? Sponsoring community events. There is assuming that things take a turn for the better. There's going to be an event here in my neighborhood. We're doing a little pet parade and a pet food drive. So the Stone team is going to be sponsoring it to help collect donations to help get the word out. So find those things that are going on in your community, or again, if you go to church, if there's a barbecue plate sale or a carnival or something that the church is doing some sort of event, go, hey, do you mind? Like, I would love to help you out with it. Do you mind if my business comes on as a sponsor? We'll provide the drinks, we'll provide whatever the case may be, depending on the event. Business meet and greet. I do once a month at one of our local coffee shops, and independently owned local coffee shop here in my neighborhood, where I go in on a Friday morning and I am there from 7 till 9, and folks can pop in and a cup of coffee on me. All they got to do is just say hello to me, grab a flyer, say that that they saw the advertisement. It helps out my local business, which goes back to how do I build those business referral partners? And again, it allows me to become that face of real estate in my community. Sponsoring a nonprofit organization. So if there's a charity, if there is a charity event, if there is, whatever that 501c3 is that you believe in, Humane Society. Let's say once a week you feature a dog for adoption. So it doesn't have to be a monetary sponsorship, but something that you do to assist their efforts. That's a great way to build those kind of warm fuzzies as a business owner and again as a member of your community. Sponsoring community or little league sports teams. I've got a niece who's in third grade and plays soccer, and that field has everybody's business. Those jerseys have logos on the back. So again, why not yours? Number 19, volunteering. So, going back to some of those community events, but doing that on a regular basis. Not only is it very good for the soul, but again, it's a great way to get out and meet people, and again, just to be part of the community as a whole. And then advertising in your community newspaper or newsletter. So again, in the Jefferson area, our community newsletter that goes out. There are a lot of the smaller neighborhoods or smaller communities, things like Bernie, Helotes, that have like a little penny saver newspaper. So advertising in something like that, I guarantee, is wonderfully cost effective, and again, great way to get your name and your contact information out. So now we move on to page 3. These are kind of the digital things that you can do, and then we'll close out with the big boy. So posting in Facebook Marketplace, posting on your Facebook page, even having a Facebook page. Again, no secret agents. We need folks to know that you're a real estate agent and that you are aggressive with it. Being active in Facebook groups. There are tons of neighborhood groups, tons of buy sell groups where homes for sale and rent, that sort of stuff. So being active in that. Twitter, Instagram, great way to highlight properties, great way to do little video tours or images. Let's say you go out to meet a builder. Hey, do you mind if I take a quick little video? I would love to post it on social media. I guarantee they're going to say yes. And now you have something for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Doing property tours on YouTube. Or even a realtor tip of the week on YouTube, building out a YouTube channel. Again, it's that social media thing that taps into the behaviors of people and 2020. Plus, it gets your face out there. People will get to know you, they'll get to like you, and then they'll want to hire you or refer you to their friends and family who need a real estate agent. There are paid Facebook ads. So if you have a marketing background or you feel pretty savvy with Facebook and Facebook marketing, you can put in a little bit of money and get a lot of return if you do it the right way. Doing videos on Facebook, so very much like doing a YouTube channel, you can do very short little videos. And again, these are great to do with builders. Doing Facebook Live, actually going live on video when you're out at a property or out and about, taking do a 5 minute I'm a realtor, ask me anything sort of thing. Get creative with it. Craigslist is great about advertising properties and getting some traction there. And then of course the big boy is open houses. Open houses, if done right, can be great, and it's very easy to do them right. Really, it's just a matter of marketing them effectively, being pleasant, not being a helicopter realtor where you're just hovering over everybody, and then being prepared when you're doing your open house. Rick has a fantastic set of slides on doing open house as well, but if you've got question on open houses, let me know. Don't let your inability to market on Facebook or your inability to find an open house be the reason why you don't do it. Really, you need signs and the willingness to be there, and the dedication to do it. So, builders will let you do open houses. Again, pre-owned homes for other agents. Whatever you got to do, again, get yourself out there. The other nice thing about open houses is it's very easy to tie open houses into door knocking. It could give you a reason to mail letters in the neighborhood. It could give you reason to post on social media, to do videos. So a lot of these can work hand in hand where they're one effort is supporting the other. So that was just a very brief list of 30 ways that you can lead generate. So let's talk about your lead generation homework. I want you to pick 5 ways from the list, or if there's some that maybe I hadn't even thought of, but 5 ways that from the list or from your mind, 5 things that you can do in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and focus on just those methods. The other trap that a lot of new real estate agents will fall into is the desire to learn everything. I've got to learn how to do a great open house, and I've got to design a logo because I want to start sponsoring an event, and I've got to figure out how Twitter works, even though I've never logged into Twitter before in my life. And I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and where do I get postcards made, and where do I do this? So start on 5. Don't worry about the other 25. Also, don't do things that you're not a fan of. Again, if you don't know Twitter, if you've never had logged into Twitter, if you don't have an Instagram account, today is not the day for you to figure out how Instagram works. Today is the day to take the skill set that you have and what you enjoy and apply it. If you love fresh air and want to get your steps in, hey, door knock. If you're great at social media, we talked about all the social media things. If you are well involved in your community, there was 7, 8, 9, 10 things that you could do to stay involved in your community while also building your business. So pick the things that match your skill set, your interest, and your personality. The most important thing is track every lead, track every attempt. There is nothing worse than meeting somebody in an event, getting a business card, and promptly losing it, or having a really good conversation with someone and then you never asked for their contact information. So make sure that you're tracking every lead, that you're tracking every attempt, that you are working that lead to the fullest extent so that you have a way to get a hold of them again very easily through multiple channels once that initial interaction ends. And your goal is 100 contacts each and every week. Contacts are two-way. So if you pop into a business, just for an example, and you go, "Hey, is the owner here?" And they go, "No," and you go, "Okay, thanks." That's not really a contact because your goal was to meet with the owner, to at least let the owner know that you're there. Now, if you go in and you go, "Hey, is the owner available?" And person says, "Yep, I'm the owner." You go, "Hi, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, do you mind if I put some postcards here in the lobby of your business?" And they go, "No." That's still a contact. So that two-way interaction, even a no is a successful contact. So 100 each and every week. Now, as you start, if you're starting fresh or you've never generated a lead and the only person you've talked to about real estate is your mom, 100 is going to be tough your first week. Maybe you'll start with 30. And then you'll add 30 more the second week, and you'll revisit the 30 from the first week. Well, now you're up to 60. And then you add another 30 in week 3, and heck, you're up to 90 that you can reach out to each and every week. So it'll start to just snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger, but your goal should be 100 contacts each and every week. Again, two-way contact, where you say, hey, I'm a real estate agent, or hey, I'm holding this event, or hey, I would love to talk to you about this, and you get some sort of response back, positive or negative. That can count as your contact. So doing 100 of those a week will get you where you need to go. So you got a lead. Now what do you do beyond continuing to track them and follow up with them? So the early and the most persistent bird is going to get the worm. So while I was putting this together, I wanted to do just some research on statistics when it comes to sales, statistics on how leads convert, not just in real estate, but in sales in general. There's a lot of similarities between real estate sales and just other third party sales. Sales is sales is sales. So I wanted to pull some stats that would be universally true, and just kind of to prove a point and to kind of demystify the idea of how to convert leads, because it really is a numbers game. You have enough leads that you contact in the right way enough times, and that will convert into business. So here are some sales follow-up statistics. At any given time, only 3% of your market is actively buying, or in the case of real estate, actively selling. So if we take San Antonio and surrounding areas, we've got a couple million people. Of those couple million, only 3% is actively engaged in what I would consider active real estate. They have their house on the market. They are actively looking for a home. 56% aren't ready. And then another 40% are poised to begin, whether they realize it or not. And that's where our ability to sell and our ability to prove our worth and to prove the importance of real estate, not only as an investment, but also a pride of ownership, and a benefit to our community. That's where we as experts can really tap into. So don't worry about those 56%. They're not ready. You're going to continue to follow up with them, because eventually that 56% will turn into that other 40%. So your goal is that 40%, because again, those 3% who are actively buying, they probably already have a real estate agent. They're probably further on their way than really what you can help. 30 to 50% of sales go to the person that responds first. So if you've done any sort of Facebook marketing, if you've done any sort of like social media posts, you know that folks are crazy about just reaching out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry realtor in town to find out information about a property, or hey, one realtor told them that their scores weren't good enough to qualify, so they reach out to somebody else. But 35 to 50% of sales are going to go to the one that responds first. So if you ask anybody who's on my team, on the Stone team, I really drive home the importance of following up fast, following up immediately. Now, I don't want any of y'all to be on-call realtors. That's not why we got into this business. If a lead comes in at 8 o'clock at night on a Facebook ad that you posted, and you're having dinner with your kids, have dinner with your kids. If it's 2 in the morning, don't pick up your phone and answer it. But when those leads come in during what you consider work hours, those are work hours. So the sale is going to go to the vendor that responds first. Those who attempted to reach leads within an hour were nearly 7 times likelier to have meaningful conversations with decision makers than those who waited even, after that hour number one, and, hour and 5 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. So not only do you have to be the first, you just got to be fast. There's a lot of folks who are looking at real estate, and I don't want to call it an impulse buy, but it's that dream of home ownership, especially for first time owners or those who are looking to move up. There is a little bit of impulse, a little bit of emotion that goes into it. So if you can tap into that while that emotion is at its peak, you're going to have better conversations and more impactful conversations. Following up with web leads within 5 minutes makes you 9 times more likely to engage with them. So if you are running Facebook ads or you're posting on social media and someone requests more information, you better be ready. You better be ready to jump on it. I make sure that if I'm running a Facebook ad, that I'm not running it during hours where I know I'm not going to be available, because I need to grab that lead the moment it becomes, the moment it hits my hot little hands. We did a Facebook ad with the team, I guess maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, where that lead would go out when they responded to our ad, and the first person to claim it from our team would be the one to get that lead, because that meant that that person was there and available and ready to call that person within that 5 minute time frame. So be that person who, when you're working and you're working leads, that you are immediately and impressively available. So let's talk about how many times you should reach out. The other thing I get a lot of agents saying to me is, well, I don't want to bug them. If someone has given you their name, their email address, and their phone number, they are begging you to bug them. I've never given someone my real phone number in hopes that they wouldn't call me, or would be surprised if they did call me. So when someone gives you their contact information, they are giving you permission to bug them. So high growth sales people report an average of 16 touch points per prospect within a 2 to 4 week span. So we're talking at least 4 a week. Now these can be emails, text messages, phone calls, combination, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in one of the next slides. The optimal number of email messages is 5. The optimal number of call attempts is 6. So we're at touch number 11. You fill in the rest with your text messages. 95% of all converted leads are reached by the 6th call attempt. So that is to say that the longer it goes, the tougher that road is going to be. But if we see that the optimal number of call attempts is 6, folks are reaching out 16 times in a 2 to 4 week span. Those of you who will tell me, and I've heard it over and over, especially when I do lead gen classes, is like, well, this just doesn't work. Great. How many times have you tried to reach out to them? Well, I left 2 voicemails. We're our touch number 3, 4, 5 through number 16. So never ever give up on your leads. Folks ask me, how many times do you reach out to someone before you consider them unsaleable, or before you close out that lead? And I reach out to them until they tell me to take a flying leap. Until they actively tell me to remove them from my list, I'm going to continue to follow up. I follow up more frequently during that first really 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then I space it out a little bit more. But if it takes a year, it's going to take a year. If it's going to take 2 years, it's going to take 2 years. I had a lead that returned from the dead after 18 months. And we got her pre-approved about 2 weeks ago, and we are currently looking for a house. So there is no such thing as a dead lead. Again, if we think about that idea that 56 aren't ready now and 40% are poised to be ready, it's just a matter of when that person goes from being not ready to on the cusp of being ready, that the only name they think of when it comes to real estate is yours, because you're the one who's been present. You're the one who's reached out. Let's talk about that follow-up persistence. So 50% of sales happen after the fifth attempt. So again, if you're reaching out once or twice and going, well, this person is never going to buy a house, you are selling yourself short. Half of the sales happen after that 5th attempt. The average sales rep only makes 2 attempts to reach a prospect. So there are a lot of sales reps who are letting their leads fall by the wayside. A lot of sales reps who aren't working their leads to their fullest potential. Don't be that real estate agent. Don't be that salesperson. 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up, and I believe that stat because I've met those people. I've listened to those people complain to me that none of the leads that they generate are worth a damn, because they call once or they text once and then they give up and just go, well, they never called me back. 75% of online buyers, and I take social media, so folks who respond to Facebook ads or Marketplace or Craigslist or anything like that, 75% of online buyers want to receive between 2 and 4 phone calls before a company gives up. They want to be bothered. They want to be reached out to. 12% would like a company to try as many times as it takes to get a hold of them. Again, they want to be bothered. So if your mindset is, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to harass them. Calling them twice a week is not harassing them. That's what they're asking you to do. 92% of salespeople give up after no sales on the fourth call. Again, 50% of sales happen on the fifth attempt. So almost every salesperson gives up before it's time. I think Rick gave us the statistic, or maybe it was something in EXP or Trek, but what is it, 82% or 87% of realtors don't make it into their second year? Yeah, if 92% of salespeople are giving up before a lead statistically is going to convert, no wonder. 60% of customers say no 4 times before saying yes. So not only are we talking about the folks who just don't respond, we're talking about the folks who go, yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know. We've thought about buying a house, but it's just not a good time. It's just not a good time. Maybe later, maybe later. They're going to do that at least 4 times before you're going to get a yes. So don't get discouraged. This is just statistics. And it takes an average of 8 cold call attempts to reach a prospect. Back in 2007, this was 3.68 times to reach via phone. Why? Social media, text messaging, being able to send Facebook messages, being able to send Twitter DMs. There's a lot more to communication these days than just an actual phone call. So it's taking more attempts to reach folks via phone. So let's talk about attempt number one, or method number one, which is email. So email opens increase after 12 p.m., the most active period being between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. The best time to email prospects is between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. So start your day doing emails. Not a bad idea. Email opens increase after 12 p.m., so you get them before they really start digging into their email. Tuesday emails have the highest open rate compared to other weekdays. I've taught in previous classes about how to structure your week, structure your day, how to prioritize your work. Great. If you want to make Tuesday your big email day, have at it. Statistics prove that you're going to do pretty well. The best times to call are Wednesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Thursdays are great because folks are gearing up for the weekend. They've kind of checked out from the stress of work. They're looking forward to the weekend, but they're not actually deep into weekend time. The worst time to call are Mondays from 6 a.m. till noon, and then Fridays in the afternoon. Again, Fridays, everybody's at happy hour. They've already checked out for the week. Monday mornings, nobody wants to talk to anybody, including myself. Email marketing has a 2-time higher rate return than cold calling. 33% of email recipients open emails based on subject line alone. So be mindful of your subject line. Don't get too cutesy with it, but don't let it be a throwaway or have it be too repetitive or boring. Keep it interesting, keep it creative. Subject lines with more than 3 words experience a drop in open rate by over 60%. So if you're sending an email that is, hey, open up this email to see the hottest houses in and around San Antonio, it's probably not going to get opened quite as much as if the email was just hot homes here, or something along those lines. You want to keep it nice and short so that way they don't tune out before they even open your email. And then personalized emails, including the recipient's first name in the subject line, can boost open rates by 29.3%. So if you have the ability to personalize it, personalize it. There are some things that you can do on KV Core if you have a lot of leads where you can personalize some of that stuff in there as well. So let's go ahead and move on to phone calls. If you aren't making phone calls, yes, I know it's 2020, but phone calls still create that personal connection that a text message and especially an email could never, ever do. So 55% of high growth companies, and you're a business owner, you own a company, and again, especially those who experienced a minimum of 40% growth over the previous 3 years, stated that cold calling is still very much alive. It's still very much a part of their business model. One study showed that telephone outreach out-converted emails by a significant margin. So telephone outreach, 8.21%, emails converted at less than a tenth of a percent. 78% of decision makers polled have taken an appointment or attended an event that came from a cold call. Most of my appointments land from cold calls. Most of my appointments, I get confirmation from And I don't even consider it cold calling because, again, they give me their contact information. I've done cold calling. I used to work for MCI selling long distance. I've seen those dark days. So if someone has given me their information freely, I don't really consider it a cold call. But being able to talk to somebody and really kind of explain the importance of an appointment, they're going to say yes at a much higher rate than just email or even just text message. The average sales development rep, so the folks in businesses who are really doing all of that outreach. Now, for you as a solo agent, you were that person, but the average sales development rep makes 52 calls a day. So, again, think about building that lead pipeline. Think about your sphere of influence. Do you know 30 people? That's 30 calls that you can make one day to reach out. And then maybe you do it again 2 weeks from now. Maybe one day you reach out to the business owners in your area until you start getting that repeatable 52 calls a day. You're falling short. Now remember, we want to make 100 contacts each and every week. A contact is a two-way conversation. So calling and leaving a voicemail isn't a contact. Calling and having somebody answer the phone, or calling and leaving a voicemail and they call you back, that is a contact. We have someone on our team whose job it is to make phone calls, and they focus on phone calls about 3 or 4 days a month, just to kind of give us a little alleviation, especially when we're rolling out new ad campaigns. She can do 30 phone calls in an hour. So in 2 hours, she could very easily do this 52 and have time left over. Now, if you're making 52 calls a day and you have the leads to make 52 calls a day, you're probably doing pretty well, and it might be time to outsource that as well. 6 to 10 minutes is the optimal length for a live call. If a call lasts between that time, it's going to convert at a higher rate. So that means that you're having interesting conversations, you're getting information from them, you are relaying information to them, but you're not getting so deep into the weeds that that in-person appointment seems fruitless. You aren't talking yourself out of a sale. So when you're making your calls, call with a purpose. Even if the purpose is just to relay information. Hey, I wanted to give you a call. I was talking with my lender and we just got someone approved and I saw what their interest rate was. And oh my goodness, like you can't wait because you are leaving money on the table. I'd like to talk to you about it. Call with a purpose, call with a reason, call with something to say other than just, hey, are you ready to buy a house yet? The average voicemail response rate is 4.8%. So don't feel bad when people don't call you back off of a voicemail, but leave a voicemail because there is 4.8% of those voicemails that will respond to you. 80% of calls will go to voicemail. 90% of first-time voicemails are never returned. So again, if you're making your calls, continue to make your calls. Don't get discouraged. Don't be that person that is, well, I'm leaving a voicemail and no one ever calls me back. Yeah, statistically, we know it's tough to get a phone call back from a voicemail. But that's totally fine because, again, you're just getting that practice. You're making yourself known, and because they will eventually convert. And we'll talk a little bit about multi-methods a little bit later on in the presentation. So let's go to text messages. Now, I know all of y'all do texts for your follow-up, or at least most of y'all do. But prospects who are sent text messages convert at a rate of 40% higher than either of the other two methods that we spoke about, which is really nice because I know there's a lot of folks who hate talking on the phone, and we know that emails don't convert at a super high rate. So I guess good news is that since most of us are texting, we are doing what we need to do to convert most of those leads. Again, do not eliminate phone calls or emails, but make sure that you're doing your text messages for sure. However, sending a text message to a prospect prior to trying to make contact on the phone decreased the likelihood of ever contacting that lead by 39%. So if we talk about the theory that most leads are going to convert after the 6th to 16th time, you want to make sure that you have a good mix of options of how you're going to reach out to them. Don't just send 16 text messages and expect them to return the favor in kind. So your best bet when a lead comes in or you make a contact and you want to reach back out, give them a quick phone call. If they don't answer, send out a text. Hey, this is Stephanie Stone from eXp Realty. Hey, I just left you a voicemail, but I wanted to get you some information about XYZ, or I had a quick question for you. Can you call me back? Whatever that text message looks like, do both. Make that personal contact with the phone, and then you can do that text contact as a quick and easy follow up. Texting again, texting after contact leads to 112% higher lead to engagement conversion. So again, making that phone call, we know they're probably not going to answer. You're going to get a voicemail that they're not going to return, but then you leave that follow up text, and that will usually shake that tree enough that they'll come back and respond to you. So what we're really talking about is a multi-channel approach. Sales professionals that leverage a triple touch, meaning email, text, and phone call, have a 28% higher conversion rate than those that just use phone or email or text, or even a combination of 2 out of the 3. So hit them every way. We never really know, is this a person who really likes that phone call and maybe they don't know how to text? My dad can get text messages. He has no idea how to respond, but he will answer his phone all day long. Or is it someone like me where I get so many emails a day that I never really pay attention to them unless it's from a client or from the brokerage? I do not answer my phone hardly ever, again, unless I'm expecting a call. But a text message, yeah, I'll probably answer that pretty quickly. So again, hitting that with that multi-channel approach will just make sure that you are converting at the highest rate possible. Leads that are sent email and text messages in between phone calls have a 16% higher chance to be connected live by phone. So if you make your presence known virtually via email and via text, when you do that next phone call attempt, you are going to have a higher chance of actually getting to talk to them. And that's ultimately what it really boils down to. So I hope your takeaway from this is that there really is no reason why you can't be lead generating today. You don't need a special set of skills. You don't need special training. You don't have to know social media inside and out. It's just a matter of being present and being out there. And that is the biggest thing that I can give you is don't hide behind your computer. Don't hide behind your desire to learn to the point of perfection, because that's just not a reality. Getting yourself out there and actually doing the work to generate leads is going to be the quickest way to build your business. Again, nobody's going to contact you while you're sitting at a lunch and learn because they heard that you were at a lunch and learn. Nobody's going to contact you because you're reading a book or listening to a podcast about real estate. People will learn that you're a real estate agent when you are out there, when you are in the community, when you are, again, letting people know in a very direct way that you are in real estate. And then we talked a little bit about your follow-up methods, making sure that you are following up fast, that you're following up frequently, and you're following up with purpose. If you put those two pieces of the puzzle together, you will have more business than you know what to do with. So again, we want to talk about your homework for the week. Don't forget, you're going to pick your 5 ways from these sources of leads. 5 things to focus on. I can either be from that list, or if you have something else that you want to try, go for it. But pick 5 and only 5. Don't try to master 15, and don't limit yourself to 1. But things that you can focus on for the next 2 to 3 weeks and focus just on those methods. Don't pick things that don't excite you. I tell folks all the time, I do not door knock. I won't door knock. It hasn't limited my business, but because I've focused on things and done them over and over and over, I'm able to be successful. Pick the things that match your skill set, what you're interested in, and most importantly, your personality. Track everything. Track every call you make, every text you make, every email you send. Every time you get a name, an email address, a phone number, track it, track it, track it. Do not lose it. Know that history of that lead inside and out. And again, aim for that goal of 100 contacts each week. Again, your first few weeks, if you've never done any sort of lead generation, it'll be a struggle. That's fine. It will start to grow exponentially beyond your wildest dreams. So I'm very excited to hear how your homework shakes out 2 weeks from now. If you've got questions on how to choose the 5 methods, or want to bounce some ideas off of me, you know where to find me. I have EXP office hours this upcoming week on Monday. I'll be doing them from 10 until 1. Tuesday, from 10 until 2. Remember, we got your Texas State meeting right before that. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing from 9 until 2 as well. So if you need to chat with me about lead generation and how to maximize your efforts, pop into eXp World during that time. I will be in the private team suite. Again, the password is Stone Team 2020 with a capital S on Stone. If you go onto our mentor website, there's the password is there as well. But again, get to work, get yourself out there, start actually doing the work that successful real estate agents do versus waiting for the knowledge of what a successful real estate agent has. Because I guarantee we've all learned from trial and error. We've all learned what we are good at and what we're terrible at by actually get out there and doing, and you will do the same. Again, any questions? Call me, text me, email me, pop into eXp World, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in person in 2 weeks.